watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP, Smita Prakash, editor, Suhel Seth, author and columnist, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Sanjay Jha, author, Intikhab Farooqui, leader of the Shiv Sena. My first question goes out to Smita Prakash. Smita Prakash, what is the perception? Let me begin with asking you the perception, because sudden announcement of Shinde becoming the chief minister, and just when everybody thought the twists and turns of the story was over, came Mr. JP Nadda's request, appeal, call it what you will, Mr. Amit Shah's tweet, and then the two chairs on the dais turned to three. How do you see it?
Well, not for a moment do I believe that this was on the spur of the moment request going out to Devendra Fadnavis. I think it was pre-decided that it would be Mr. Shinde who would be chief minister, because it wouldn't have, the optics would not have looked good that the BJP has destabilized in a way the government, even though they're not saying so. But Shiv Sena, they didn't want to look like they facilitated the exit of Thackeray from Shiv Sena's leadership and to install their own chief minister because of some kind of revenge taking for what happened in 2019. So I think basically the idea was to install a Shiv Sena chief minister. Shinde has been extremely bold in doing what he did, which is to take on a Thackeray, move people over to Assam. It required guts of steel, and I think he displayed that. So I don't think there was any second view. Of course, Fadnavis has a huge fan base which feels let down, and I think Fadnavis has come out as the bigger man in this, in which he seems graceful in that he has accepted a position which is less than a chief minister, even though he has been a chief minister. Everybody knows that he was the person who was drumming up support for Shinde within the Shiv Sena to make sure that Shinde has the confidence in taking this step. It's not easy for somebody to do what he did, but he has done that, and Fadnavis brings with him so much experience. As you said in your introduction, he brings administrative experience, he knows he has political experience. So even though some might say that he's going to be like the man behind a puppet, that I don't think is true. If you say that, then you would have to say that it was Sharad Pawar who was running the earlier government and not Uddhav Thackeray. So, if it's not apples and oranges, so you cannot say that. I think Shinde is going to come to his own, show that it's a Shiv Sena government, but Devendra Fadnavis brings a lot of experience and will give in that central push for central government position, give a state push for the central government schemes which are to be implemented. Because remember, we are just 2 years now away, 2.5 years away before the government goes into an election mode for the 2024 polls. So I think it is important for the BJP to see that the central schemes are put into place in Maharashtra, which is one of the rich
all
states.
That is well taken, Smita. But the fact that Devendra Fadnavis did not announce himself as deputy chief minister, and later all this that happened was pre-planned, do you think it was pre-planned, or do you think they had to change their strategy midway? What is the perception on that?
Well, the drama did look nice of bringing in the chair in the last minute. So to give that idea that it was something that, the request was given out to Fadnavis. Fadnavis had not really accepted it. Of course, it wouldn't have looked nice for Fadnavis to announce his own deputy chief ministership. So, he did the magnanimous thing of waiting for somebody else to make in the request. So it all plays out very nicely like a soap opera. But I think this was thought out earlier. The fact that Fadnavis was in Delhi, and I really find it difficult to believe that Amit Shah and Fadnavis did not have this played out to the T. And I think it has the support of the big two.
Shaking his head and smiling extremely broadly. You have a different theory, because today it's all based on theory.
Let's cut out this nice soppy, Fadnavis has shown himself to be very graceful, and this has been a very graceful thing. Every bit of it was scripted. You know, if Narendra Modi wasn't Prime Minister, he would have made one of the greatest playwrights of contemporary literature. Every bit was scripted. He makes Shakespeare look like a slumlord. Look at the way the drama unfolded. Okay, I mean, it was perfection. You have Narendra Modi who wants to stick the knife in at multiple levels, but uses Sun Tzu's art of war as the learning mode, uses a borrowed knife to kill his enemy. So in one fell swoop, you have completely decimated the Thackerays. You've made them irrelevant to their own party. Number two, you've made Devendra Fadnavis come across as the sacrificing person. See his face. He wasn't too happy. Number three, you've made Eknath Shinde swell with pride. What have you done? You've told Maharashtra that, look, it is not us who are in power. It is Eknath Shinde. He is the original Shiv Sena. Number two, anything happens, the blame will be on Eknath Shinde. Devendra Fadnavis will, mark my words, be actually the remote control. Number three, the BJP has played a brilliant card. Give them credit. Don't make them come out as if everything was decided on the spur of the moment. Remember one thing, even the flowers that are put in a bouquet when BJP hands it out to anyone are well chosen. There may be 2 roses, but there'll be at least 6 thorns depending on who's getting those roses. So hats off to those guys. It's been a wonderful journey. It's a great lesson in political craftsmanship. Sanjay Jha, he's suspended. Otherwise, he could have actually carried forward these lessons to Rahul Gandhi, because I don't know if Rahul Gandhi is aware that this change has happened in Maharashtra. Yeah. But that apart, my worry is not all of this. My worry is that now Maharashtra needs to breathe easy. Now we need governance that has been missing for the last 8 days. And my only other abiding request, Navika Kumar, through the powers of your channel, is today more than ever, the government of India has recognized the crucial role that hotels and private jets play. So please give tourism greater benefits and more recognition.
Well, Gaurav Bhatia, that's many messages rolled into one, but political craftsmanship at its best is what Suhel Seth calls it. And Smita says it was planned to the T. I think you can lend a few scripts to Bollywood as well, because some of those films are bombing every day. Maybe.
But Bollywood won't have the kind of actor that Fadnavis is. Fadnavis is
so
better.
Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Gaurav Bhatia, was it important to send down this message that it would be Shiv Sena on top? It wasn't really that the BJP was hungry for power and therefore stabbing the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray in the back. Was that the biggest message?
Navika, for Smita ji and Suhel ji, they can make their comments freely. Suhel ji can also say it was scripted to the T. But as a party soldier and as a spokesperson, it is not my job to analyze and scrutinize. That part has to be done within the party fold. I have to put forward the party leadership's views, and that is why I'm here. And 3 strong messages have been given to every citizen of our country and to the Marathis and people living in Maharashtra. And what are those 3 messages? The first is the mandate that was given to the Bharatiya Janata Party has now been honored, and Bharatiya Janata Party lives for the welfare of the people of our country and Maharashtra. The second, Bala Sahab Thackeray ji's ideology of Hindutva, Hindu pride, which is a very positive thing. Hindutva is not negative as Rahul Gandhi says. That has been honored. And when there were slogans being chanted, Har Har Mahadev, I think everyone felt proud of those. And the third, which is most important, and I will first say a couplet for Devendra Fadnavis ji. मैं फलदार शाख हूँ, फलदार शाख लचकती जरूर है. Today, Devendra ji is a very tall leader, but he's become taller. You know why? We come to debates and we say the motto and the slogan of Bharatiya Janata Party is Nation first, party next, and individual last. Today, he lived up to it. He showed that if the party leadership decides, as our national president said, that I will go with what the party decides. This kind of commitment you will not find in G21, G23, G27. This only comes from the Bharatiya Janata Party. And for the Congress, for the NCP, I would only like to say one thing. शक न कर मेरी इन खुश्क आंखों पर, यूं भी आंसू बहाए जाते हैं. आज उनको दर्द हो रहा है नाविका जी, और ये दर्द अच्छा है.
ये दर्द अच्छा है. Well, let me ask Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, Devendra Fadnavis's words when he left office the last time, which is really viral on social media, were, मेरा पानी उतरता देख, मेरे किनारे पर घर मत बसा लेना, मैं समंदर हूँ, लौट कर वापस आऊँगा. Today, those words coming true. Lessons for the Congress party. Uncomfortable alliance, कोई इज्जत नहीं. Absolutely no respect, nothing gained from this very opportunistic alliance. I want to ask you, Sanjay Jha, what has been the opposition's gain and what has been the learning?
Navika, first and foremost, I've heard some of your panelists speak earlier, and I respect all of them. But I don't want to insult the collective intelligence of your viewers. To call Operation Lotus an obscene, shameless, vulgar use of money and muscle power, where you have absconding MLAs taken to BJP-ruled states of Gujarat, Surat, and then staying in Radisson Blu in Assam, where you have floods, and then to a 5-star resort in Goa, and to give it political craftsmanship. To say that Devendra Fadnavis still is like pure as running water. I mean, we are making a travesty of a public discourse. Now, I can understand people's personal ideological preferences, their other political compulsions, whatever they may be. But I don't want to be that crude and shameless enough to come on your show and say this is the art of political management. I think this is demeaning our democracy. And all of us, everyone on the program, we're all, can I just finish?
Sure,
I believe all of us here are responsible public faces. We all have credibility. We all have social media followers. And I'm sure we have a lot of people who respect us for what we say. I believe endorsing what the BJP has done is toppled a government. And, you can attribute many reasons. Articles will be written, books will be written. But to endorse this kind of what I believe is the most brutal annihilation of democracy as an art of Chanakyanati, it shames us all. And therefore, my second point, let us not try and whitewash this whole Devendra Fadnavis issue. If we go back, Navikas, to his tweet, do you think he was celebrating about his moment, or was he talking about Fadnavis's moment? He was talking about his own. And I can tell you this, and I'm not saying it to just put the cat among the pigeons. There is a internecine politics within the BJP. Why would the BJP president come public? Why would Amit Shah tweet? It looks to me as a very unusual development. And for all of us who believe that the BJP is, the ultimate Bible or the holy grail of political management, there are people. And where there are people... Well,
nobody is saying the BJP is the
1 minute, I want to come in. Since he made a comment, I want to come in on this.
Suhel Seth. But, I like your moral high ground, Sanjay Jha, for a party that was number 4 party when elections happened in 2019, jumped into bed with a party that they called the most hardened and right-wing Hindutva party. At that time, morals didn't come across. And now you're saying, how can you accept and endorse, Devendra Fadnavis or the BJP doing this? Once in a while, just once in a while, as healthy standards recommend, look into your own conscience once in a while. Maybe if you're not completely taken aback with what you see inside the Congress's conscience, maybe you'll be able to understand others. But Suhel Seth wants to come back because you used his word political craftsmanship so many times. Suhel Seth, respond to Sanjay Jha.
That's the other problem with some panelists. When they quote, they don't quote ad verbatim, they quote out of context. So I said three things and I stand by them. No one is whitewashing. We've been asked by Navika Kumar, the anchor, what we feel. This is our perception, my perception at least, A, B. Is it not political astutemanship? It is. The fact is that they are in power. You guys don't even know where you are. Actually, it's not even you. You're suspended. So you're neither here nor there. Number two, do you think, Sanjay, this is the first time this has happened in India? Indira Gandhi started Ayaram Gayaram politics. You know that better than I do. You are a student, hopefully, of history as well, political history for sure. Number three, what have they done which has not been done in the past? They've only bettered it. Do you think Congress has not sequestered its MLAs? You did that in Rajasthan. You think the Congress hasn't done this? So, hamam mein sab nange hain. Remember, it's a large Turkish bath. All these guys have been part of that Turkish bath. Where are we today? I have said on Navika Kumar's program time over and time again that this is not the way a democracy should be run. But if it is run by everyone in this way and one guy wins, you must salute the winner. It's the winner takes it all, with due respect to ABBA. Number three, no one, neither Smita Prakash nor I, hold a brief for any one of these guys. I couldn't be bothered. My view is that today you are showing Devendra Fadnavis as the person who has sacrificed, but it's also very clear that it's a party that is run by discipline. It's not a party that is run by some avuncular people who want to protest but don't have the courage to do so. Today, the Congress is in a hapless minority, both intellectually and politically. Do you want redemption? The answer is yes. Will you get it? The answer is no. Why? Because no one has the will, Sanjay. I mean, you have defended the Congress more after being suspended. For that alone, they should have been in tapasya mode for the rest of their lives. They haven't taken you back. That's the arrogance of entitlement. What the BJP today has done, whether they genuinely believe or not, who cares and who knows? I'm not Amit Shah's conscience keeper. Fact is, they've been able to do this. The fact is, there was a pre-poll alliance between the Shiv Sena and the BJP. The fact is that that pre-poll alliance was not honored. Today, if someone says revenge is a dish served best when cold, in this case, they've taken it out of the freezer and put it on the burner. And people are burning, whether it's Bernal or something else. I don't want to even promote a brand. So that's where we are, my friend.
Well, Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you straightforward. Where does that leave the Congress party? It's the question I asked Sanjay Jha as well. And what happens to the opposition? Now, Shiv Sena, which had 55 members, is down to what, 14 or whatever, if they stick to Uddhav Thackeray. The others are part of the government, 39 of them. And who's going to be the leader of the opposition? Will the Aghadi stick together? Will it be the Congress party leading it in the opposition? The NCP, Sharad Pawar was the mentor of this entire Aghadi, or Uddhav Thackeray or Aditya Thackeray? What? What's the opposition's plan? Because an opposition is important.
Namaskar, Navika ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Namaskar to all my worthy fellow panelists, and namaskar to all your viewers. You raised a very pertinent question. So if I may just take 10 or 15 seconds to address the question of the Shiv Sena, so-called Shiv Sena split. You see, right now, the Shiv Sena Thackeray group has not formally split from the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde group. So as of now, the Eknath Shinde group, whenever assembly is called and the floor test is taken, will be sitting on the same benches. So then, of course, the question is which whip applies. And with the Eknath Shinde having a majority, it is obvious that their whip will apply. So the question of disqualification for Uddhav Thackeray's group will only come if they don't go with the whip of Eknath Shinde. So far as that is concerned, I think technically speaking, the Shiv Sena as an entire legislative group will vote together for the government. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray and Sanjay Raut had gone on to say if Eknath Shinde is made chief minister, they would be more than happy, and I think they will perhaps at least legislatively have to honor that commitment. So I don't think the Shiv Sena will come into the question of the opposition, because they will be in government in that cause, whatever the internal squabbling is. Which leads us to the next question: what happens to the opposition? I would obviously like that the Congress takes the leader of the opposition post. It doesn't go to the NCP, A, because the Congress is a national party, B, because that's how the formula should be. Even when the Congress was a smaller party in the alliance, the chief minister had gone to the Congress when they were in 2009, when there was the election in the Congress, NCP had come back to power. So I hope that the Congress gets the leader of opposition. There's a third point that I want to make. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. So perhaps that's the reason why Devendra Fadnavis, what he's calling a master stroke by making Eknath Shinde the chief minister. But this is the same Devendra Fadnavis who, you know, to quote a couplet, Teri mehfil bhi gaye, chane wale bhi gaye, aakar baithe bhi na the, nikale bhi gaye, was so keen to become chief minister of Maharashtra. Nevertheless, Fadnavis has a long tenure still to go. He has emerged as some sort of a massive leader in Maharashtra. Time will tell. He's still got time on his hand. He's a young politician in the Indian political context. Wish him well, but I think that at this moment, Eknath Shinde putting him out there was more of a majburi than a Chanakya niti, and that's my take on it.
Well, Smita Prakash nodding her head and raising her hand. Smita, entitlement dekh lo. Sabse choti party hai, but leader of opposition should be with the Congress party. That is the entitlement.
I must say that Tehseen comes across very sweetly talking about hope right now.
Sorry, Smita.
Tehseen, अब बस तुम्हारा hope बहुत ज़्यादा जाता है अब बस. I think it's really hoping for too much to expect that, you know, the Congress will be leader of the opposition. But who knows? I mean, Indian politics is such. Of course, I totally endorse what Suhel had said in response to what Sanjay had said, because no way would either Suhel or I endorsing this resort politics or any of the shenanigans that happened in government formation. The other thing which I want to say is which you were saying about, you know, what's going to happen to the Shiv Sena. There's going to be a lot more drama, and the way I see it is that Shinde is going to try his level best to get Uddhav and the others on board and see to it that there is no split. Not just legislators split, but no split in the party at all. They would rather have Uddhav Thackeray take on that patriarchal role which Bal Thackeray played. So they will advise, and I think it does suit Uddhav better, because Uddhav really has shown that the nitty-gritties of running a government or running the party is really not his scene. He would rather take on this patriarchal role. I think it would fit him fine, and Shinde will try his level best. So we are going to see a lot of drama unfold in the Shiv Sena now in the coming days. So the drama is not over, and like it or not, Sanjay, this is what Indian politics is, or this is what Indian family soap operas are, and politics reflects that family soap operas, where there's lot of aap mere bade ho, main aapke charan chhuta hu, please wapas aa jaiye. All this happens. We saw this happening even when Mr. L.K. Advani sulked when Modi was chosen as the chief ministerial candidate. There was a lot of going and back and forth and convincing Mr. Advani to step aside.
Why are you forgetting 2004 and Sonia Gandhi's Tyag and the parliament
do you
session?
Remember, Navika,
the session inside the parliament and everybody crying.
The weeping and crying and everything that happened with Manishankar Iyer and the others. And the banner headlines, Amazing Grace. That was the banner headline. Biblical headlines coming in, showing her as the next Mother Teresa. So all this drama does happen. You don't remember Manishankar Iyer, Jayanti Natarajan weeping profusely.
Renuka Chaudhary.
Yeah. So this drama is not new. Everybody is
but yes, as young reporters, we were all inside Parliament and seeing what was going on. But I'm coming to you, Suhel. My friend Intikhab Farooqi of the Shiv Sena hasn't spoken.
What has upset me is that there were no tears. If the tears would have been there, it would have just added a more nuanced version, but that will happen perhaps on the first day of the assembly. Yes, Farooqi sir. Now, which Shiv Sena is Mr. Farooqi from? Because now there's confusion, which Tehseen has created.
Well, Mr. Farooqi, which part of Shiv Sena are you from? The Uddhav Thackeray side or the Shinde side? And will the two sides come together, as Smita Prakash says, कि ultimately it's one big happy family, hum sab saath saath hain?
Definitely, I'm from a part of the main Shiv Sena, which come from Honorable Bala Saheb Thackeray and Uddhav Saheb Thackeray, who has made this Shiv Sena. I mean, the people who have become Chief Minister of Maharashtra today, they are a part of it. And I just want to say, Navika, if this was the ultimate goal, I think they should have sat with Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, Honorable Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, and could have, told their opinion that this is our demand. That is what I just wanted to say, that Mr. Honorable Uddhav Thackeray is already open for talks for his ministers and his karyakartas. Then I think this was not the only solution to go ahead and take a decision like this. I mean, leaving the party and going ahead and making a part of Shiv Sena, 2 parts of Shiv Sena. So that is what I mean to say. I mean, like, what I see so far.
Let me ask Gaurav Bhatia. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, if Devendra Fadnavis has become the Deputy Chief Minister today, many people are raising this question that he could have done that with Uddhav Thackeray in the beginning, in 2019, and given Uddhav Thackeray the position of the Chief Minister, which has been given even today to a Shiv Sainik. What was the problem with that formula then?
Navika, Bharatiya Janata Party is a party of ideology and principle. And I'll make it very simple for everyone. There was a pre-poll alliance which we are forgetting. Shiv Sena contested the elections showing the face of Narendra Modi ji, the good work that was done by Devendra Fadnavis ji. Under the leadership of Devendra ji, the election was fought. And there was no such promise made by the Bharatiya Janata Party that there would be a split of 2.5 years each as chief ministers. But later it was claimed by them. So it was like keeping us in dark and then also, cheating us. Now in the case of Eknath Shinde ji, the Shiv Sena imploded, and I refute the charge of Mr. Sanjay Jha when he says that Bharatiya Janata Party toppled the government. Rather, it is a well-known fact that there was no ideology of Balasaheb Thackeray left in Shiv Sena, and that is why the 40 MLAs of Shiv Sena under Eknath Shinde ji decided to part ways. Now the difference is this, that Eknath Shinde ji also believes in Hindutva of Balasaheb Thackeray, and Bharatiya Janata Party believes that Hindutva is the way forward. So therefore the two have come together. This is the difference between the earlier alliance and the second one now which has been forged. But I would definitely like to put forward the ironical situation. Nobody would have thought, not even Balasaheb Thackeray ji, that Uddhav Thackeray will resign and it will be considered a victory of Hindutva. And nobody would have thought, even Balasaheb Thackeray wouldn't have thought, that a Shiv Sena chief minister would be sworn in and Uddhav Thackeray will be sulking. And this is the kind of politics that Uddhav Thackeray has been doing. I just want to add one more thing. Sanjay Jha talking about morals. Sanjay bhai, I know that you are very loyal, more loyal than the official spokespersons of the Congress, but I am giving you some points to reflect upon. You have 44 MLAs, you contested the elections against the policies of Devendra Fadnavis and Shiv Sena, which was in power. Then you joined hands with them. 2 ministers of Mahavasuli Aghadi were put behind bars, one of them not sacked. Why? Third, the police commissioner himself was extorting money, trying to achieve the targets given. And Congress has become the Bhasmasur of Indian politics. In Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party was reduced to ashes. In Bihar, RJD is an unknown entity. In West Bengal, left has no future. It is all because of the Congress party led by the Gandhi Parivar.
Sanjay, you want to respond?
Yeah, quick response. Number one, Gaurav, I'm just telling you this as a friend. I have been on the other side of the ruling party for a long time. Please remember, political arrogance cost you the 2019 government with the Shiv Sena. There are no permanent winners and losers in politics. You don't know what's going to happen in future elections. We could be swapping seats. So hold your breath. Second point, I'll give you just one example of your great Mr. Fadnavis, who's, bathed in running water. You know what? He did a swearing in. He did a swearing in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he did it with Mr. Ajit Pawar, whom he accuses of having links with Dawood Ibrahim. And guess what? You guys in the BJP suddenly wiped off all the corruption allegations of the education scam against Mr. Ajit Pawar. You are the worst in political hypocrisy. You guys have no public standards. You lie and indulge in propaganda and fake news.
So
and my job is to expose you, my friend. Anyway, the people will judge you.
Fake news. Nobody has a proprietorship on fake news, Sanjay Jha, and there have been many items of fake news coming from every political party, and the Congress really doesn't come from Bethlehem as far as fake news is concerned. So let's just leave it there. And I just want to read out that there is magnanimity, there is hope in life, because today office of Uddhav Thackeray has just tweeted, he has put out this tweet and he has congratulated Eknath Shinde. Well, the last part of this story has still not been told, ladies and gentlemen, and we all live in hope that yes, it is one big happy family and hopefully it will stay that way. वो कहते हैं ना, शाम सुबह का भूला शाम को घर लौटे तो उसे भूला नहीं कहते. Well, who knows, Smita, they may all unite and you know, in India you don't toast to each other, but they may all unite and do a havan or a kirtan or whatever and say to each other, let bygones be bygones, and Uddhav Thackeray, Eknath Shinde and the BJP will come back together on the same page and be part of one big happy family. Is that what it's going to be? Who knows? We'll have to wait and watch, because this story has had its share of twists and turns, and we'll wait for other developments coming up on the other side. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On the